Hello everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. It's the Super Bowl of bourbon here. That's right, it's the top 10 bourbons of 2022 for Bourbon Bill. One of the best videos of the year where we really use our mind to creatively think and taste, and I'm just kidding, we just slug them back and say, that's better than that one. That's how we do it here on this show. Now, the rules. Had to have been able to buy a bottle. So I've tasted many great things thanks to a lot of you subscribers and viewers through the Advent calendar. So if you haven't watched that, go watch it. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here. We're a little over 800, so we're inching our way there. But let's run the last mile, right? All right, so had to have bought a bottle myself. This year. I have to own it to review it for you, fine viewers, this evening. That's pretty much the only rules. Has to be bourbon. So there'll be a separate video on rye coming out on Thursday, later in the week. Last week I did my top Burr rye of the year, which was Wild Turkey Unforgotten. And in a very close second was Discovery Series number 8 from Bardstown. So you won't see those in the lineup tonight because they were in the Burr rye category. And you won't see any ryes in this because that's its own video. So there you go. Solely bourbons. I'm also wearing a Christmas gift, Beast of Bourbon, for Bourbon Bill, just for this special event. So now we do have 3 honorable mentions that just didn't quite make the cut, but came very close and that you should buy if you see them. First up, Chattanooga Bottled in Bond, Spring 2018. So the first release from this year in 2022 was a hitter. Just tons of fruit, like stone fruits. I can't get enough of this. There's a little bit. Obviously, the maltiness is there, so there's a lot of malt, but not in a bad way. So this is killer. I'm sorry, the spring release from 2022 killed it. Spring 2018 is what it's called. Definitely pick it up. Next up on our honorable mentions list, Wilderness Trail Bourbon, store pick from Fairground Liquors, somewhere in Maryland, I forget. Delicious. So Wilderness Trail is putting out some killer cask strengths. It's not super sweet. It's a little bit on the earthy side, but doesn't taste like dirt and soil like Willet does. But it's very good. It's touch less of the sweetness than you might be used to, but tons of flavors for 4 to 5 year old product. These are killer. Just didn't quite make the cut this year, but if you can find a cask strength, that's the emphasis on that. Store pick of either, this or the wheated mash bill or the rye, hint hint for the rye video, I would pick up one of those. Next up, and this just missed the list this year. There it is. Maker's Mark BRT, the wood finishing series from 2022. This is BRT 02, which I thought was a hair better than BRT 01. I did a video on that. Go watch it. Maybe I'll link it above if I'm not lazy. This was full of chocolate notes and, oh man, just deep, dark, and rich chocolate. But, last year this did make my list. The wood finishing series from last year was on my list. This year, I don't know. I thought this year's was better, but I was able to get a better variety of bourbons this year, a little bit more this year, with the help of a lot of you viewers. So this didn't quite make the cut, but still delicious, and you should grab it if you can. They're like 60, 65 bucks here in PA. All right, number 10. Now to the actual list of Bourbon Bill's ranked and reviewed bourbons. Number 10. There it is. Larceny Barrel Proof C922. A delicious. So Larceny's return to greatness this year. Larceny Barrel Proof. Regular Larceny still sucks. But Larceny Barrel Proof C922 was fantastic. It really felt like it mixed in a little bit older profile. Obviously the Wheater Funk was there, but there was some red fruit, some oak. It was phenomenal. This was Breaking Bourbon's Whiskey of the Year, and I also obviously did a review on this. But guess what? Number 10 for Bourbon Bill. Because we don't really take into account value here. It's all about taste. So there you go. Number 9. Peerless Double Oak Bourbon. My first Peerless arrived to me in 2022. The Peerless Double Oak Bourbon. I mean, look at the darkness on this bad boy here. Delicious. If you watch my advent calendar, I actually got to sample a Peerless Double Oak Rye, which is even better, but don't have a bottle of that. This is fantastic stuff. The only thing that held this back was it was a little bit young. And we know it's a little bit young, but tons and tons of oak. If you don't know, my flavor profile is the more oak, the better, generally. I don't like tannic oak or like dry oak, but I like a lot of oak. So if you're, I'll try to spell that out as I go along on some bourbons that may have ranked higher for you if you don't love a ton of oak. But this is a ton of oak bourbon, and on a heavy oak and one side of that double oak scale. But this bad boy is delicious. About $85 to $100, somewhere in there. Alright, number 8. Number 8 was a Four Roses single barrel strength. Now you can sub in pretty much any recipe here. They all do vary, but this was Argonaut Wine and Liquor from Colorado. So shout out to David, he'll help me get this bottle this year. I love the Four Roses single barrel strengths. That's where Four Roses shines. This happens to be an OBSV recipe coming in at, oh geez, 58.2%. So what's that, like 116.4? Look at that math. We're just flying off of the math here. This is pretty good stuff. If you like Four Roses, doesn't tend to do well in blind, so it's back here in 8th place. But this is delicious by itself, and I've had several different recipes. I've done a whole recipe video. This is peak Four Roses besides the LEs, which I didn't get this year. So spoiler alert, that's not in my list coming up. But if you can't get an LE, which many of you won't, find a store pick. PA does have them, but they're online only now. PA's ones are good too. So find a store pick. Four Roses single barrel. Number 7 may shock some of you. There it is. The Remus Gatsby Reserve. Not the most expensive bottle on this list, but damn close. The bottle, it wins for bottle shape, sure. Taste-wise, delicious, heavy oak. It's 15-year-old MGP. Cask strength. The problem with it, it's 97.8 proof. Okay, so it's tons of oak and caramel, but it's not overly complex, and it's not overly thin, but it's just, if this was at a higher proof barrel strength, it would have been killer, I think, and it would have placed a lot higher on the list. But the low proof barrel strength, while interesting, I feel like held this back, and it wasn't complex enough to carry it forward. Number 6 this year, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C922. What have I learned? I prefer the C batches of the Heaven Hill batch products. Obviously, we have Larceny Barrel Proof C in here. We have the Elijah Craig C batch. This is the best Elijah Craig Barrel Proof since 2020. Been on the fence about getting one. Get C922. Just a traditional Heaven Hill profile. Tons of oak, caramels, a little bit of that Heaven Hill nuttiness in there. A delicious pour. Easily found in PA when they release 3 times a year. You can usually get them $64.99. So an extreme value for a 12-year-old age-shaded product. Number 5. You can tell how much I've enjoyed the Woodford Batch Proof from this year by its level in the bottle. A damn delicious Woodford Batch Proof. These often get overlooked. They're about $120, $130 a bottle. Often get overlooked. This year's was fantastic. 118.4 proof was the 2022 sole release. But this has a delicious marriage of younger, brighter, fruit-forward flavors, and then also an older oak component. So it's a perfect blend. So if you're not a heavy oak fan, like I am, this would have placed higher for you. Don't feel bad that its 5th place finish is only 5th. Could have been higher if you weren't a major oak fan. Alright, number 4. We're getting into the good stuff now. Calumet 16 year. So, yes, it's limited, but this was an easier to find limited release of the year. I'm still seeing these, and I got this like months and months ago. And you can still find these on the shelf. People balked at like the high price this year, like $140, $150 for it. but yes, that is expensive, but this was a damn delicious pour. Like hickory notes, smoky notes in this, tons of oak. I think this beats Calumet 15 with a stick out in the yard. This also beat Sam Houston 15, which for me, Sam Houston 15 last year was a delicious pour and got, in my top list. That also beat this. So Calumet 16 is a hitter. I can't wait to see what Calumet puts out this year. Are we going to get Calumet 17? I'm waiting on it, I'll tell you that. Which means it's now time for the top three. And you're like bracing yourself, like, what are the top three going to be? We're going to show them to you. Relax. Relax. Number 3 here is not for the faint of heart. If you are not a proof lover, shield your eyes. We have to rate this TV mature. Lucky 7, the proprietor, 14-year picks. This sucker comes in at 134.5 proof. Compute. 67.25% alcohol by volume. Missed hazmat by a mere 5.5 proof. 14-year-old Barton. So, Calumet 16 was like 106 proof. 106 proof. This is Calumet 14 at 134.5. Lucky 7's killing the game. If you've had a store pick of this, no, what I've heard is that the higher the proof, the better. This tastes like a little mini, like George T. Stagg. It's got some dark notes in it, very dark, a little bit of cherry, tons of oak. This is, obviously, if you can't find George T. Stagg, pick yourself up one of these. These are 150 a bottle, so not cheap, but quite delicious. That number 4 and number 3 were both Barton products this year, so I do love me some Barton. Running out of room on the table. Number 2. There it is, folks. Knob Creek 18 year, the oldest Knob Creek age-dated release to date. I know some of you complain, this is only 100 proof, and we used to get Knob Creek store picks at 14, 15-year-old. Those days are over. Alright, we're in the dawn of a new era. There's no more horse and buggies. We're now driving cars, okay? The days of Knob Creek 14, 15-year-old store picks are gone. They're gone. I know it was a sweet, delicious time, but it's over. Knob Creek 18 is damn delicious. At 100 proof, this is orange marmalade and oak for days. So if you like orange marmalade and oak, hitter for you. If you're not a fan of oak, this is not for you. I'm going to say that right off the bat. You're going to prefer the Lucky 7 14 year. You're going to prefer the Woodford Batch Proof over this. This made it here for me because this is an orange creamsicle with oak. And I love both of those things. Number 2. These are about 150 to 200, depending on where you are. A limited release, but it is available if you look hard enough to find this bad boy. Afraid this is going to fall at any moment. My number 1 release of 2022. Second year in a row that Russell's 13 year has capped this competition. Last year, Batch 1 won. This year, Batch 3 of Russell's 13 smoked the competition. It is a delicious marriage of oak and fruits and smokiness that it's just so well balanced and so well done. This one comes in at 114.8 proof. Compute 57.4% alcohol by volume. Damn delicious. $100 this year. Last year they were 70, 100 this year. I'd pay 100 every day of the week. Should you pay crazy secondary? No, you shouldn't. Could you go up to 200, 250? Sure, I don't think you'd be disappointed. I love Batch 3. Batch 3 is more oak heavy than Batch 1. So if you have Batch 1 sitting at home and you're like, hey, I didn't get Batch 3, but if Bourbon Bill says it's worth it, I'll go get Batch 3. If you're not as fan of as much oak as I am, Batch 1 would be better for you. And I actually prefer Batch 1 even though I'm more of an oak fan. But Batch 3 is very good and a worthy successor to Batch 1 and Batch 2, which was very limited. And I don't know. I've never seen Batch 2 here in PA. So, almost a clean sweep, but wait. I lied. This actually isn't number one. I made a list and I miscounted. The real number one, or we'll call it the granddaddy of 2022 for Bourbon Bill, right here. Heaven Hill 17 year. Look. I can't describe to you how good this is because words do not do it justice. I was lucky enough to get the Heaven Hill 17 year, and as you see, I've enjoyed it. You know, save it for special occasions. Look, it's too good. I can't save it for special occasions. It's too good. I drink it when I want. I'll actually probably cry when this is gone. Should you pay $1,000? No. MSRP on this is $275. That's what I got it for. I might pay up to $350, but that's pretty much my cap. Maybe $400. I go $400. That's my cap. I wouldn't spend a penny more because I would never spend more than $400 on a bottle of bourbon, and that's just what it is. But this is very good. This is BTAC level. It's the best thing I've tasted. Everything else in this competition was always playing for second. Okay. So, yes, I crowned Russell's Reserve 13 as my number one because you had a better chance of getting that, even though it's very limited. The chance to get this is really slim to none unless you have very deep pockets, you don't care about money, things like that. And this honestly won the top spot for me early in the year, and nothing's come close since. I did a little taste of this as I was going through these blind, and it still won easily. So it takes the cake for sure. So thank you, everyone, for all your support, Bourbon Bill in 2022. Looking forward to 2023 and the ride we have ahead. And let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.